The Volk Audio Etoile. Let's talk about it. The Volk Audio Etoile is a 10-driver quad-bridge system. It is 6-way crossover, 5 precision cut soundboards, which I don't even know what they are. There's a subwoofer, balanced armatures, 4 electrostatic tweeters, electromagnetic driver, which I haven't even heard of, and a beautiful faceplate and presentation. This is a tour unit. I do not get to keep it. Let's look at what we got. This case is really class. I really like it. It's premium feeling. I like the red interior of it. It's got some nice little neon booties and a nice little leather strap. But again, not a full setup. Let's look at the cable. The cable has R for right, L for left. It's an interesting cable. It doesn't behave super well, but it's a fine cable nonetheless. It feels chunky and premium. Its chin slider stays in place. Its wide split is pretty. It just kind of has a nice simple tool weave to it, but it has a nice look and appearance, and it's not microphonic, which is important for me. The shell is large. It doesn't feel like it's filled in completely. It is vented extremely well. It is flat 2-pin cable connector, and it holds onto ear tips well. I don't really have any fault with the size of this shell, but I feel like it doesn't feel super premium, as it feels like it may not be filled in. It just feels a little bit light, but I could be wrong. It could be fine. You may not have any issues with it. The faceplate does look very nice, and I think it is a handsome looking IEM shell. So, how does the $4,000 Volk Audio Etoile sound? I first of all want to premise a few things that I have listened to a lot of expensive IEMs in my time. I've owned expensive IEMs, and I've listened to quite a few. And this IEM is not for me. It is an interesting set. Like, if I had to describe it with audiophile words, I would describe it as flabby bass, a definite low volume set. I would describe it with having neutered lower mids. I describe it as being very grainy and sharp in the wrong places for me. I would describe it as unique, weird. It is a weird, strange IEM, and it is sibilant, bright, and harsh at the same time. It's accentuated and overly incisive at times as well. I'd also describe it as honky, boxy, hollow, a tad nasally, lacking attack. And I just think it is all around a strange, peculiar IEM. Now, I usually try not to defend my own position and talk about it much, but for me, this is one of those IEMs where I know a lot of people like. I personally do not like, and I just want to be hyper clear about that. I'm going to look at a few other graphs, talk about a few other things, and to try to help you guys get an understand of why I do not like this interesting but beautiful IEM. All right, let's look at the Etoile, and what do you notice about it? A few things. This is normalized at like 500. You'll notice there's this big, weird 1K spike, which is kind of interesting. There's a 4K spike right here, where it just kind of gets flatter and then spikes up real quick. And then it spikes up again right around 8K, and it just has a weird, interesting treble presentation for me. Like, its treble doesn't feel buttery or clean or clear. It just feels a little bit off-putting for my liking. I have listened to the Empire Ears Triton. I thought it was super bassy. I thought it was fun, engaging. I want to say it's done by a similar person. I know a member of the Empire Ears team did leave. I believe his name is Jack Vang. That's mainly what I know about it. I did want to show my graph, and the only other graph that I've seen, this is on the Elise Audio site. And if you look at that, and basically on mine, you'll notice the similar 1K hump. You'll notice basically I just want to justify that my graph looks appropriate for what mine is, and so I don't think it's a unit problem in my experience. Sometimes expensive IEMs are good, and sometimes they're strange. One IEM that I did not like personally was the Moondrop Psyche. And the Moondrop Psyche kind of has a boring graph, has a little bit of a bass shelf, but has a lot of upper mids. But you'll notice about the Moondrop Psyche is that, like, if we normalize this at, I don't know, 500, or maybe a little bit higher, it just kind of has this weird thing where like it has this weird hump right here, right around 800, and it becomes very pronounced and has like this almost early ear gain. And that to me is kind of strange with a few other peaks on it. It's not completely terrible, but it has this feeling almost like it's trying to draw out voices from you, and they become a little bit boxy and honky for my liking. If we look at other IMs, it reminds me a little bit of the Noble Audio Chronicle. This is a $5,000 set. I think it's a better set. I think it's a little bit more low key. It doesn't have this 4K spike. It doesn't have as pronounced 800. It's a different presentation all around and a lot more of a neutral set. I like the Chronicle. I think it's a good one. Noble has a new IEM out. It's one that I want to call the Chronos. It's a little bit more. It's like 4,500, but I think I got to hear it at Can Jam and liked it. When I heard the Volk Audio Etoile, it was not a very good experience for me at Can Jam. I thought it was kind of an interesting IM, but when I got to hear it at home, I wanted to take the advantage of it to see if that would change. And on the last 4 or 5 days, my experience has not changed. Something like the Elysian Acoustics Lab Annihilator is something that I do like. It does have accentuated treble. It is a really fun set with engaging present upper mids. One of the problems with the Etoile is the upper mids are not really present for me. In some of these areas, it hits me in the wrong spot and just has a weird, almost like gaming headset sort of a vibe. Like it's trying to give me some kind of a sensation that the music is coming from a different spot. And it's not what I want to hear. I've got to hear other IEMs like the Hex, and I think the Hex is kind of appealing for what it is. It's a $9,000 IEM or even the Storm, but I think at this $4,000 IEM, it becomes a very interesting price point to even talk about. So I think it's kind of an interesting IEM that I wouldn't put in the good category or worth the price. But what I like to call is audiophile tuned, meaning sometimes IEMs are tuned for people with wider palettes. My palette is probably not that wide. Like one of my favorite TOTL IEMs is like the Camper 622B. I found it slightly dull, but I think the Camper is a lot more mid-presence than what I like, and I think it's a lot more agreeable to my taste than something like the Etoile, which I frankly find a little bit weird and strange to my liking. Even something like the expensive Fat Frequency Grand Maestro, and I got to hear their even more expensive Anniversary model, which I think is a little bit of a different tonality. I still find something like that, the Grand Maestro, to be a better value, even that more expensive space. Even something like the Musa I think is way better. It doesn't have that massive heap. It has a lot more sub bass and lower mid range. It has almost a warm tonality, which I really like, which helps balance out some of the upper frequencies that I'm getting in the Etoile, and I'm just not in general a massive fan of. The Volk Audio Etoile, let's rank it up. How do I feel about it? I feel it's very strange. I do feel there's a interesting space of soundstage around this IEM that makes it unique. I do feel that the bass is present and the treble is not, it's not terrible, but it is a little bit grainy. Its upper mids really aren't done to my liking. I did try EQ with this IEM, but did not find it effective. And so I find it as like one of those IEMs where I do know that there's a market for this IEM. I think there's people out there that have a wider palette of tonalities and things that they like. But I'll be honest with you, it is not for me. I'll be honest, I've talked to a lot of my friends, and I know a lot of people really like this IEM. Some ears that I really trust, and I'm excited as this tour unit is going to a few other people that I'm curious to hear their opinions on it. I don't mean any slam or harsh things, but for me, this IEM has a peculiar sound. It's not very sweet. It lost basically every AB battle that I put it against, and I feel that it's just kind of one of those IEMs that it has an audience. It has an audience for people, but for me and for my library and what I like to listen to, the way I want my music to sound, it has too much of this out-of-the-body space effect that I just don't like, that I can't get into, and it doesn't get a recommendation from me. With any IEM this expensive, I highly recommend you guys to demo it first. And with this IEM, it's one of those IEMs where part of me is disappointed that I didn't really get to have the same experience as other people. I know a lot of people really liked it, and they think it's just as good as something like the Storm or the Annihilator. For me, I don't even know if I'd spend more than $200 on this set if I found it at a used swap meet. It's an interesting set. I don't really like it. I find it a unique presentation of sound that I see some people liking. There's IEMs that fall into the category of good, well-known, legendary. And I think a lot of people are liking this set. And again, I wish I did. I wish I had that same experience. I think it's a beautiful, lovely set. I love the story of a guy going out on his own to make his own audio brand. I think it's super cool. But it gets a full-blown non-rec. I don't like it. I see how others might. And I appreciate them for having a wider palette of IEMs they can listen to than I do. Hope you guys have a great day. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Bye-bye for now.
Go!
Go!
Go on with you!